A very good morning, students. In this video, we will be discussing the asymptotic notations. Now we have discussed the time and space complexity and expressed the time complexity as a function of the size input. And therefore, if an algorithm is receiving n inputs, then the algorithm's complexity will be expressed in the terms of that input size n. Now here we will look at the formal methods for expressing the complexity of an algorithm. For this we will be using the asymptotic notations. Now what does the asymptotic means? Asymptotic is something which is continuously trying to approach the other curve. There is a curve and it is continuously trying to approach the other curve, and there is a symmetric finite distance between the two curves and they will never meet each other. There is a curve line x and there is a curve line x plus 1. These two lines, they have the same growth order, but they will never meet each other. Similarly, the asymptotic notations, we will describe the complexity of an algorithm in terms of a function which will have the same growth order as the complexity of our algorithm. So coming to the first asymptotic notation, so there are three main asymptotic notations which we have to understand. One is the big O notation, second is omega notation, and the last is theta notation. Now all these three notations, they are used for expressing the best case, worst case and average case complexities of an algorithm. So the big O notation is used as an upper bound for a function f of n, where f of n is the complexity of the algorithm that you have calculated in terms of n, or is a polynomial of n. Now what does the big O notation means? The big O means that the algorithm cannot do worse than this, but it can do better. So this is the worst case. It indicates the worst case complexity of the algorithm. And there is another thing. Some people, they associate big O with the worst case complexity, omega with the best case complexity, and theta with the average case complexity, but it is wrong to do so. Big O can be used for expressing the average case or best case complexities, and it has a special meaning which we will discuss towards the end of this video. So here for now we will understand that big O notation means that the algorithm will not do worse than this, but it can do better than the claimed complexity. And if f of n, here you can look at this position, that if f of n is less than c of gn. Now what is this c, what is gn, and what is f of n? F of n is the complexity of the algorithm which we have calculated. C is a constant which we will be calculating, and g of n is the bounding function which is going to bind the f of n on the higher side. If we want to understand this better, let us look at this graph. In this, we have the f of n function which describes the complexity of our algorithm, and say it is some n square plus n plus 1. So what we will do, we will put the values of n and we will calculate. This is n and this is the f of n. So we will put the values of n over here, and whatever f of n values will come, we will plot here, and this line will get generated. Now similarly, we have a c and a g of n. G of n, we are saying, is going to bind the f of n on the higher side, and it is the upper bound that f of n will never cross this g of n after a value of n0. This is what the big O notation means. We will say big O, g of n is the big O boundation of the function f of n, provided that C of Gn will always be on the higher side of f of n. Now this C needs to be calculated. This G of n we can estimate using the trial and error method, and there is a proper method of calculating those. I am not discussing those methods in this video, but let me give you a glimpse of that. Suppose the calculated complexity of our algorithm is 2 of n square. Then we want to show that 2 of n square is bounded by n cube on the upper side. So what we will do? We will keep the 2 of n square function. 0 is less than equal to 2 of n square is less than equal to C of Gn. Now G of n we want to show is n cube. So we will put it here. Now we will try to find out the value of C. For this, what we will do? We will divide the whole thing by n cube. So what we will get is 0 upon n cube is less than equal to 2 n square upon n cube less than equal to 2 n cube upon n cube. This n cube will get cancelled. Here 2 of n will be remaining. So what we get is 0 is less than equal to 2 of n is less than equal to C. Now 2 of n approaches 0 as n approaches infinity. So 2 of n will be maximum when n is equal to 1. So we put the value of n is equal to 1 here, and we get the value of C to be 2. Now we determine the n0. n0 is the point after which the f of n will never be higher than the g of n. So this we can estimate by putting the value of C. We can calculate the value of n0, and here it comes out to be 1. So now what this means is 2 of n square is less than equal to 1 of n cube always for n0 equal to 1. This means that the n cube is going to bind the 2 of n square function on the higher side. The value of 2 of n square will never cross n cube with the C value of 1 and n0 value of 1. So it is a kind of a upper bound on the value of upper bound on the value of f of n. That means the algorithm will never do worse than this. The f of n graph will always remain below this g of n. This is what big O notation means. Then we have the omega notation. Omega notation means the algorithm cannot do better, but it can do worse. So this will tell us that what is the minimum time that the algorithm is going to take for a given input. And here the C of Gn is going to bind the f of n on the lower side. So we have C of Gn is less than equal to f of n for some value of C more than 0, and for all n which are more than equal to n0. Then we will say f of n belongs to omega of Gn. So we can look at the graph here. In the omega notation, f of n is on the higher side after a certain value n0, and C of Gn is going to bind it on the lower side. F of n cannot be lower than C of Gn. And then we have the theta notation. Theta notation is a tight bound which binds f of n on both the sides. There is a C1 of Gn which binds on the lower side, and there is a C2 of Gn which binds on the higher side. The Gn function is going to remain the same for both the sides. Only the constants C1 and C2 are going to change. And the mathematical expression of this will be that C of Gn is less than equal to Hn is less than equal to C2 of Gn for all n more than equal to n0, and C1, C2 and n0 are positive constants. So this is the theta notation. So what we do, first of all, we calculate the number of steps in the algorithm as we have seen in the time complexity part 1 and part 2. Then after calculating the polynomial function of n, we try to equate it with some g of n function, and we calculate the c and n0, and we are able to find out the O omega and theta for the given function. Now that we have learned the best case and the worst case complexity, if we are using the omega function or the omega notation to denote the best case complexity, that means that it describes the lower bound for all the given input. Whatever inputs we have with us, this is a lower bound or the minimum time that we'll be taking in the best case inputs. Worst case omega means that it is a lower bound for the worst case input. The worst case input is cannot take a time less than what we are specifying here. This is what it will mean in the worst case complexity. And in case of the average case complexity, it will mean the same as the best case. Then big O notation, if we are using the best case big O notation, then it is describing the highest time the best case will be taking. It cannot take more time than the given time which we are claiming. The worst case O means that it is the upper bound for all the input, for whether it is the best case input, worst case input or average case input. The algorithm will never take more time than this. And when we use it for the average case, it is the same as the worst case complexity. Then we have the theta notation. Theta notation is not used for the best cases. And in the worst case, it describes the asymptotic or a tight bound for the worst case input. And it is the same for the average case inputs. Alright, with this we come to an end of this video, and in the next section we will be discussing the recursion algorithms. Thank you.